Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our latest ReWatch, ReVisit review. Our video series where I rewatch a movie I haven't seen in a while, talk about my thoughts after revisiting it, and then talk about my review as well as the audience and critics review for it. So today I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Insurrection, Star Trek 9, the third Star Trek Picard movie. I decided to revisit all of the Star Trek Picard motion pictures because, well, we got the new Star Trek Picard series out. So I've already watched the first two Star Trek Picard movies, and so those ones I'll link up here and my thoughts about revisiting those. But yeah, so I revisited this one this weekend, and this one we see Picard must choose between following orders and upholding his belief in the morals of Starfleet when when he discovers a conspiracy and he's ordered to forget about it, but he can't because the conspiracy involves him, the relocation of a people. And so this one was a really fun revisit for me because I forgot entirely what this one was about. I could not remember a single thing about this story. Like, if you'd quizzed me before I rewatched this, I wouldn't have gotten anything right. I've got like the fact that it's a Star Trek movie, right, and that Picard's in it and the whole crew of the Enterprise. So that was kind of the fun part of revisiting this one. I know I have seen this one before when I was younger because I remember a lot of the imagery. I remember I don't want to say the bad guys of this one, because their faces just terrify me, to be honest. And I particularly remember when I was a kid not liking them at all. It was just a thing when I was younger. Like, they reminded me a little bit of Freddy Krueger, which I didn't like. It was a whole thing. So it was funny to kind of revisit this one, knowing the imagery, knowing like the Picard and the white thing, but not remembering why he dresses up in the formal kind of uniform, and then the imagery of like them being on this kind of planet, with this kind of primitive culture, and a lot of these different things. The theme of kind of rejuvenation. I thought there was one of these ones that had to do with kind of fountain of youth-esque thing, and so this one, it's not a fountain, it's the whole planet, and it's a thing around the planet. So this one was, again, really fun to revisit because I knew like nothing about the story, but I knew some stuff about it. So it was kind of fun to piece together these images I had in my head of the characters doing these different things and the villain and how it all played together, and like the fact that I had this slight memory of there being a Fountain of Youth movie, and this is it. This is Star Trek's version of the Fountain of Youth. So, and I think they've done it in another one, to be honest, too. But so yeah, that was kind of fun to revisit this and see. Another thing I really enjoyed about revisiting this one is the kind of moral dilemma this whole movie centers around the fact that Picard discovers this conspiracy among actually in the Federation to try and relocate this people so that they can, extract the thing that gives, extract like the radiation that allows these people to have kind of eternal life. And so it's really fun to see this kind of that this one focuses around specifically this moral, dilemma that Picard gets put in, where he has his beliefs that he's spent his whole career and his whole life upholding the beliefs that Starfleet is supposed to, embody. That's the word I was looking for. And then this one, it's like, oh no, Starfleet doesn't care in this one case. We all want to live forever. So Picard's like, wait, no, we're not relocating these people. Every time we relocate people in history, it ends bad. It doesn't go well. Let's not do it this time. And everyone's like, but it's only 600 people. It's like, well, when's it wrong? And it's like, yeah, Picard, do it. Be the moral high ground. Be the man that we all know. And so I really like that about this one, and kind of specifically went up with revisiting this after having watched the first couple episodes of the Picard series and being like, okay, that one focuses around the fact that he left Starfleet because it went in a direction that he didn't agree with, and that so revisiting this one and seeing that it's been a thing that he's always been that captain that we know is when Starfleet maybe starts to like go off its own path, that he's the one like, hey, no, we're Starfleet. We do things a certain way. We do things right. We're the moral compass in you or he's the moral compass in a sense for Starfleet. And so when they start to stray off it, he's just like, no, guys, I'm not going to stand here and abide by this. You can court-martial me. That's fine. I'll happily be court-martialed instead of going along with this plan. So this one was, like I said, a really fun kind of revisit for that reason, as a kind of connection, or kind of like seeing that kind of connective thread, the theme of the character having always had these principles, and just a fun kind of thing to rediscover with rewatching this one that I remembered nothing about the story, especially since, like, when I think back about most of the Star Trek movies, to me it's always like, oh yeah, they throw a lot of flashy stuff and a lot of flashy action to try and, make the big, to make it a big motion picture and whatnot. And so I like that this one even kind of still has its big action, but it also still focuses around this, theme, this moral and ethical kind of dilemma that they go through, as opposed to just being like, oh yeah, big weapons, big battle, big blow, blowing stuff up. And so, like, not that I don't mind that stuff. I love me some Star Wars stuff, but I like that Star Trek. This one feels very Star Trek to me, and have it like following the kind of, like I said, the moral themes, the ethical kind of themes, as opposed to just full-on action. So I really enjoyed revisiting this one for that particular reason. So yeah, when I looked into the reviews for this, because I was having kind of a positive moment about this, as you can tell in the 5 minutes of this video so far, that I enjoyed this one. So going and checking the reviews for this, I was like, okay, Star Trek. People just don't like this. It's this thing I did actually hear about, which is it's like every other Star Trek people, like the critics like. And so, like, checking out the reviews for this one, you see the Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics is a 55%, which I was like, oh, okay, all right, I guess I could see that. Then I read their, the like kind of critics consensus, which is they felt like it was an extended, slow-paced version of the TV show, and it's like, well, what are we supposed to expect from a Star Trek movie other than it to be similar to the TV show? Like, that's one of those things I was like, oh wait, you mean this movie just fits with the themes of the show? That's, to me, that just kind of a critic kind of that as a criticism of it, just to me is like, how is that a criticism of it? But whatever. Also, little thing, the 55% is only based off of 69 critics ratings. So that's one of those things you'd be like, we didn't even get 100 critics to give their opinion on this movie. Okay, I'm just gonna take that with a grain of salt. But then I looked at the audience side of the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, oh, whew, the audience didn't like it any better. The audiences gave it a 44%. I'm like, oh, this doesn't usually ever happen. Okay, I wasn't prepared for this when I went into this. I was like, okay, I enjoyed it. I saw the critics one. The critics didn't like it, so I was like, the fans are going to be with me. They're not. The fans don't love it. And this is one of those things where you gotta like take it with a grain of salt, because not every Star Trek fan is going out and making sure and to, give it a rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But that being said, it's still kind of an interesting scene to see who the people who are, interested enough in movies to go on Rotten Tomatoes and rate it. They didn't enjoy it. So I seem to be the outlier in this one, and having enjoyed this Star Trek movie. So it was kind of interesting to check out their reviews, because mine, I would definitely give this a higher. I would give at least 60 to 70%. I'm not saying this is the best movie ever. I just kind of enjoyed it for the kind of connections to the character, and the fact, like I said, I'm revisiting the show. So there's a lot of other things that gave me a little bit more like to it, but damn, I didn't expect the audience and critics not to like it this much. But yes, so that was interesting to kind of discover on the review part of this. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on Star Trek Insurrection. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Are you on the critics side and the audience side, where you didn't enjoy it as much? Or did you enjoy it a little bit more, like for some of the reasons that I mentioned throughout this video? If you're curious about my thoughts on more of the Star Trek movies, I'll be sure to link them in the cards in the description below and at the end of the video. Thanks again for joining me today. Sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.